Interesting. For some strange reason, my phone just started to record the video. I was sitting here thinking about making a video. So I'm going to take that as a sign. I am taking that as a sign that I'm supposed to make this video, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to make a video right now. Some of you may have already realized it's been a while since I've made a video, and that's because I didn't feel like making one. I always said I don't make YouTube videos to make money. Not that I don't want to make money. I'd love to make money. And I'm not going to worry about how long this video goes. I don't care if this video is 10 minutes long or over an hour. It doesn't matter. But that's weird. My phone just started recording for some reason. There was a countdown on the phone. I don't even know what that was. Anyway, my channel is now monetized. Because of that one video I made that has over 30,000 views now, which is my second most popular video. If you want to see my most popular video, just go click on it on my channel. You'll see it there. I went from around 500 subscribers to now over 1,100 subscribers. Since it's finally stopped. I've stopped getting subscribers. Actually, in the last 2 days, I've lost 2 subscribers. So I've gone down 2. I was getting like 20 a day, over 20 a day. And I'm like, because of that one video? But apparently my video where I was pessimistic about manifestation videos resonated with a lot of you. And that's interesting because while I was pessimistic, and for those of you who don't know, I first heard Neville Goddard in 2019, was trying to imagine my dream life, following exactly what he said to do. And 6 years later, and nothing's changed. I'm still living in the exact same apartment where I was living, still doing the same job I was doing, which I'm very grateful for this apartment and the job that I have. But if I had money, if I had a lot of money, if I was wealthy, I'd be in a house in the country. I wouldn't be working for a living anymore. To me, working for a living, this is just my opinion, just how I feel, is antithetical to life. Of course, I don't really know what antithetical means, but I like to sound like I know what I'm talking about. But that's not really why I decided, you know what, I am going to make a video today. But then I was like, do I really want to make a video today? Then I'm sitting around hemming and hawing about it. Now, there's a couple things that I want to talk about, and I'm going to surprise you because you're not expecting it. I wanted to talk about this. See this? Some of you don't know what this is. Most of you should know what this is. This is the first edition player's handbook for the greatest game ever created, Dungeons and Dragons. At the time, they called it Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. That was because there was a game called Basic Dungeons and Dragons, so they just wanted to delineate between the two. It's the same company that made the Basic, but this way it gave them like two things going side by side. Prior to this book, this was my first exposure. The Basic, which was this module, first module I played in, knowing nothing about the game, knowing none of the rules. The Dungeon Master took us through this, played one night in college until 3 a.m, fell in love with this game, never played again in college, came home because I was homesick. I was an immature man-child and didn't like being out on my own like that. Came home, went to a commuter college. My friends who were still in high school, juniors and seniors in high school, were now playing Dungeons and Dragons, and this is what we did in the 80s. I came home, went to a commuter college for 4 years, dropped out of college with no direction in my life, no idea what I wanted to do, was failing at everything I was trying in college. This was my, this was all I wanted to do. This was what I loved. And this was what I wanted to do so much all the time, but you can't do that. You can't do that. I had to go out and get a job. Fortunately, I was living at home. My parents had a small little apartment in the basement. Not really a basement, it was like a garden apartment. And I got to stay there because the person who was staying there wasn't there anymore. And super, super cheap rent because I'm their kid. So I got to live there, got a job, got a girlfriend. Life was good. I'm playing D&D, got my own little pad, which I loved. I didn't care that it was tiny. It was great. Rent was almost nothing. I'm working a job that I just, got a job. And I'm going to school. Was fine with the only thing I liked about the school. I went to Northeastern Illinois University, and the only thing I really got out of that was playing in the band. Playing in the band was great. I was a trumpet player. And I was a child prodigy. I started taking lessons at 5 years old. And never, I was good, but I never was great because I didn't practice very hard. I wasn't motivated, which is some of the things I've been wanting to talk about. So I'm going to ramble and be all over the place. And so if this video is boring and you don't want to listen to it, that's fine. I mean, nothing I can do about that. I make videos because I want to make videos. If the videos start making money, I'll be happy to make extra money, because what's wrong with making extra money? I can always use a little extra money. But this, I really wanted to talk about this, but I do want to say something about my manifesting video that I made that lots of people resonated with. About 50 or 60 of you did dislike it, if you're wondering. There were about 50 or 60 dislikes, which that didn't surprise me. What surprised me was how many people liked it. It's like, oh, so there's other people out there who are cynical like me, huh? With that said, though, I will freely admit, as of now, as of all that I've gone through with learning about meditation, practicing the Wim Hof method. I told you I'm going to be all over the place today. Sorry, I'll try to be slow and clear. The Wim Hof method I practiced helped me immensely. I recommend these things. Meditation, the app, the Insight Timer. I tried to go back to it. I just can't get back into it like I was. I lived in bliss for about a month after meditation. Was an absolute state of bliss. That whole thing about the feeling, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. I was in bliss for about a month, and that was early on. But I do believe now, 100%, that every thought we think really does create our reality. And now that sounds very positive, and I do believe that I should be positive. I do believe that all of my negativity is why my life ended up being the way it is. I thought maybe my window was open. I could hear stuff outside. These walls have ears, I swear. Paper thin walls. But no, I really believe that. I believe every thought we think really creates our reality, and that we are not necessarily 100% responsible for everything that happens to us, because we are a victim of circumstances that happen all around us. But despite circumstances that happen all around us, we are the operant power, the primary power, and we are at least mostly responsible for everything that happens to us. I remember my girlfriend that I fortunately got her out of my life, when she was here living with me, wanted to do LSD with me, and I had never done LSD. And wow, that was amazing. One of the times we did it maybe half a dozen times in a period of 2 years. So, you don't take it much, but every now and then. All of a sudden I had this revelation that I was 100% responsible for everything that's happened to me. I said it out loud. I said, oh my God, I am actually responsible for everything, 100%. And I didn't believe that when I said it, but I knew it was true. And I just said, now it's not 100%. So maybe it is. Maybe it is 100%. I gotta fix my shirt here. I'm not looking hot enough here. I need to make myself look a little hotter. Yeah, when I lose 30 pounds and lift weights in 6 months, then I'll come back here and I'll look better. But I had a clear revelation that I was 100% responsible for everything that happened to me, not 99%. And yet right now I would say probably 98, 99% we're responsible for everything that happens to us, because we can't be 100% responsible. Yet on LSD, I knew I was. Make of that what you will. Phenomenal drug, though. Anyone who tells you otherwise, no. If I was with someone right now this evening, and like a girl, a really cool girl to hang out with, and she said, "Would you like to do LSD?" I wouldn't be making this video right now. We'd be doing LSD. It's that cool of a drug. You don't take it much. You don't take it like like every other month at most. But it's a phenomenal drug. Like I said, it showed me things. I did make a mistake though. After I got that girl out of my life, I got her to give me some LSD. And I tried it once, and she was worried about it. She goes, "You shouldn't do it by yourself." And she told me why. She goes, that's dangerous. I said, "No, it won't be dangerous," because I was into meditation. I said, "I need to do this." I already knew I needed to do this because the meditation was having really great effects on me. And I took it. And because I wanted to practice meditation while on LSD, I was certain that I was going to have one hell of an experience. After the last time I realized I was 100% responsible for everything that happens to me. I mean, talk about a spiritual awakening. So, but don't do it by yourself. Don't do it. Here's why. I don't know what will happen to you, but what happened to me, it's going to sound weird, okay? The robot from Lost in Space showed up. I'm not kidding. Not physically. I saw him in my mind, and he was danger. He was doing the whole danger, Will Robinson, danger, Will Robinson, and warning. And because right at that moment, I all of a sudden was having this conversation with myself in my mind. I don't remember if I was talking about whether or not it's possible to know ultimate truth. Can we really know what's true? And I got into this philosophical, intellectual discussion with myself that I couldn't get out of, because myself, who was having this conversation with me, refused to stop the conversation until we could conclude whether or not it was possible to know if there is ultimate truth. And how can you, and I kept saying, there's no way to know. To which it said to me, "How do you know?" And I said, because no matter what you conclude, you can't possibly know. And they said, "But no, that's not true, because you haven't thought it all through. Maybe if you keep thinking through it, we will figure out if you can do this or not, if you can really know what is true." And I said, even if you determine that you know what is true, how would you know that you're right? It's like, how would you know that you won't be able to figure that out? No matter what I said, all of a sudden, I started trying to end this conversation with myself. This is all, I think, going on in my mind. And this is why you don't do LSD by yourself. When you're with somebody, it's like, man, everything's so cool. Like, everything's wild and amazing. It's great. And it's not like freaky. It doesn't scare. It felt amazing. But now I got into this conversation with myself, trying to determine whether or not it's possible to know ultimate truth. And I said, there's no way you could really know. And how do you know? How do you know? And I said, look, there's no point in continuing this because we can't resolve this. How do you know? What if we can resolve it? You can't claim that we can't resolve it until you've really tried to resolve it. And I don't know if I was talking for 5 minutes or 2 hours, but all of a sudden the robot showed up and started going, danger, danger, warning, warning. And I'm like, what do I do? And he goes, distract, distract. Those were the words that were going in my head. And I'm seeing in my mind the robot waving his arms, turning, doing blah, blah, blah. And because I loved Lost in Space as a kid. I Love that show. And just love that show. Distract. I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to distract my mind. And my mind is saying, no, we have to finish this conversation. I'm like, what? But look, and I'd point to things and I'd talk about things, and it was anything I could do to get out of this conversation that my mind would not let me get out of. And finally I got out of it. I don't remember the details, but I was like, thank you, robot, for showing up. Oh my God. That was freaky. That was freaky. I was never scared. I was starting to, well, maybe I was, because I was starting to panic at one point. No clue why I told you that story. This was not in my head. There were two things I was going to talk about. D&D, and why first edition D&D is the greatest version, and a little bit about manifestation. Every thought we think really does create our reality. And I do believe, partly in part to the YouTube channel, The Simulation Frequency, very neat channel. You should check her out. And she's also a really good looking girl too. She believes we are in a simulation, and I think we are. I think we are in a simulation, which would explain why every thought we think creates our reality. That could mean that that's the program, and that we're writing the program. We don't realize we're the programmers. I did an experiment the other day. I forget the details. But I wanted to see if I could make traffic less congested and make parking easier. Because I'm out driving. I walk dogs for a living. And if I could make traffic easier, and if I could make parking easier, that would be great. And I realized that in order to make this happen, I said, if this is a simulation, I should be able to do this. And so I accepted that it was a simulation, and I accepted that I'm a programmer. I said, and I can control my reality. My nose is itching, that's why I'm doing this. So I just said, okay, I can't force it. I said, I just need to believe that this really is true. Like Jesus said, believe that you already have it and it shall be yours. Whatever you believe to be true is true. That's not 100% either. But I decided, you know what? I bet I can do it. So I accepted that traffic will become less congested if I simply believe that it's going to. I'm just going to trust it. But it had to do with relaxing. You can't do the, a lot of manifesting videos will tell you, if you're trying to manifest, you're just getting in your own way. And I agree with that. I've been in my own way. That's why the Neville Goddard experiment for me has not worked, because I'm in my own way. I'm creating the blocks. And I'm guessing that you're creating the blocks that manifesting won't work for you, because we get in our own way, because we're trying to make it happen. Which is weird if you think about it. To make manifesting work, it's counterintuitive in that you have to stop trying to make it work in order to make it work. That's the trick somehow. And I got this to work. At least it felt like I had made traffic less. I don't know. But I knew that if in order for it to work, I needed to relax and just believe and trust and just be calm about it and just know it was going to happen. And it felt for the next couple days like traffic was lighter and parking was easier. And as I'm coming to my apartment with my friend, I picked him up. We're going to do something in the evening. My other friend is coming over. And there was a parking spot right in front of my apartment. And he goes, "Oh, wow, there's never been any parking around here. I thought we were going to have to." I said, "Yeah, it's been like that for a couple of days. It's gotten a lot easier." And I'm looking like, my God, he's right. There's never parking in front of my place. And all of a sudden, parking's in my. I was having easy parking for 2 days. Lost it. Tried to get it back. Not sure what the issue is. Coincidence? Or did I reprogram traffic for me so that things became easier? If that's true, then I can do anything and so can you. Which would explain why we have people doing all of the amazing things that they do in this world. I mean, think about any person in the life they've lived. Lots and lots of people have lived amazing lives. How much of that is them programming, and how much of it is are they even aware that they're doing it? How many people believe we're in a simulation? I don't know that we're in a simulation, but I have a feeling we are. But that's weird. That's weird, because then is death when you wake up, like the game ends, and then it's like, hey, what did you think? And you're going to be like, what the? Is that what that's going to be? I don't know. Got me. But if we're the programmer, then we can do anything. Think about this game. I don't know how many people know the history of this game. I am a mild understander of the history of Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm going to say this first. I don't mind what your opinion is on which edition you think is great. If you think this is TSR D&D, TSR. If you think TSR D&D sucks, and Wizards of the Coast, that's the current company that owns D&D, if you think Wizards of the Coast D&D is amazing, that's fine. I will not tell you you're an idiot. I will not tell you what a stupid... that's perfectly fine. I disagree with you, but you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion. And if your opinion is the direct opposite of mine, that's fine. I'm not offended by that. I'm not upset by that, and I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about that. So when I tell you that, in my opinion, this is the greatest version of D&D ever created, second edition by TSR is the second best version of D&D, and the basic game was really good too. That TSR D&D is superior to Wizards of the Coast D&D. Some people would laugh the moment I said that. I just said that. Some people will hear that and go, that's ridiculous. Wizards of the Coast D&D is far superior to the old school crap that you guys used to play. The opinions of this game are wild. I did a thing on videos about first edition versus fifth edition. It was a 3-part video. I made 3 parts, and I was collecting comments. I went and did research on my own. I wanted to hear all the pros and cons, why people preferred fifth, why people preferred first. There are people who prefer second. There are people who prefer 3.5. I don't know anyone who prefers third. 3.5, fifth, and now whatever they're calling it, D&D Beyond. There are people who like fourth. I never heard anyone say fourth was the best, but there are people who really liked fourth. Most people hated fourth. Fourth, even Gary Gygax, the creator of this game, ripped fourth edition. He has a quote about it. I thought he was talking about third edition. I was wrong. He was talking about fourth edition. How they bastardized the classes and they just ruined the game. In my opinion, so I'm going to share with you my opinion now, which is that this is the best, and I'm going to tell you why. It's just my opinion. It doesn't matter if you disagree with me or not. We can. There's no reason to have an edition war where we're yelling at each other. It doesn't matter which one you like better. I want to hear people's opinions. I like hearing people's opinions, and I gathered opinions. And I had one guy just, oh my goodness, what a jerk he was. And I'm just laughing. Going, look at how upset you are. Because I had the audacity to say that TSR D&D is better than Wizards of the Coast, and he thought I was an absolute idiot for saying that. And how could I be so stupid? It's like, why is it that if somebody prefers the original game, that makes them stupid? There are lots of old school D&D players like me who laugh at what Wizards of the Coast did to D&D. We look at this game and go, how can these people like this game? But I know people, because like I said, I did research, a mild amount of research, not a ton. I talked to people and said, I've played every edition, and I can tell you that there's that 5th edition is the best. I've played them all. I played old school. And then they said, and all this talk, as I was saying, it's a watered down, sanitized version of the game. They ruined the game. He said, that's baloney. It has nothing to do with the edition. The only thing that matters is how the DM runs the game. That's BS. The moment he said that, I said, that's your argument? It has nothing to do with the edition. It's all about the Dungeon Master and how well he runs the game. The 5th edition can be really hard or easy. It only matters what the Dungeon Master makes it hard or easy. And all this talk about 1st edition was hard and 5th edition is easy is wrong. Totally wrong. It's only what the Dungeon Master makes it. If the Dungeon Master is a good Dungeon Master, it'll be a good game. And if he's not a good Dungeon Master, it'll be a bad game. And if the Dungeon Master wants to make it easy, it's easy. And if he wants to make it hard, it's hard. He goes, I run 5th edition, and it's hard. I said, really? You have death saving throws. You get 3 death saving throws. How's it hard? I get 3 death saving throws to avoid death. And my character has bonuses. I only have to make one of those 3. How is it hard? Let me explain to you why this argument that it comes down to the Dungeon Master is stupid. Okay? It ignores the fact that 1st edition D&D was a hard game to succeed at. And it also ignores the fact that 5th edition D&D is a very easy game to succeed at. The fact that the Dungeon Master can make 1st edition hard or easy, or 5th edition hard or easy, they can, that's true, is completely irrelevant. And see, this is the problem I have with all of us humans. I know that I have many times argued stupid logic in my life. I've used stupid logic. But when I discovered that the logic I'm using was stupid, and I was a dumbass, I go, oh, wow, I was really a dumbass, wasn't I? Yeah, I really need to change my thought structure. This argument that it comes down to the Dungeon Master is dumb. So what that the Dungeon Master can make it hard or easy? That doesn't change the fact that 5th edition is easy. In this game, it's hard to go up levels. Sure, I can make it easy. But if I play it by the rules and I follow the rules, it's hard. That's a fact. So this argument is just, it's nonsensical, and they can't see that it's nonsensical. And I know that I've made nonsensical arguments, dumb arguments, so I'm not here to call you an idiot and say anybody who disagrees with me. No, I don't want that cocky, arrogant attitude crap. We all have our opinions. And you're entitled to your opinion. But think about that argument. Yeah, of course the Dungeon Master can make any game hard or easy, any version of D&D hard or easy. I can make this game impossible, where you'll just die very easily. I used to start my game by saying, thank you for coming. Or no, I said, okay, let's get started. Oh, by the way, you're all dead. Thank you for coming. It was just a joke. I used to do that just for fun. You're all dead. Thanks for coming. Fun game. And we'd laugh and goof around, and then we'd eat pizza and drink Mountain Dew or Coke and have fun playing D&D. We didn't care about anything. We just wanted to play. The reason this game is superior to me is the spirit of this game. For me, this is what it means to me. It was all about the group cooperative. Sitting around 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, however many people you want. I played a game once with 10 people playing, and I was the DM. That was crazy, but it was wild. And you have to work together to help to make it so that no one dies. If you're careless, someone might die. If you don't work together and you start doing your own thing and you get selfish, and you aren't going to, if you don't have the for the good of the group mentality, you could all die in the game. Your character could die. And This, and I don't have my Dungeon Master's Guide. I don't know what happened to my Dungeon Master's Guide. I used to have it. I played second edition. When second edition came out, we played it. We loved it. We thought second edition was great too. But if I have to rate them, this is number one. This is number one. Second edition is next. Probably 3.5, because I hear a lot of people say 3.5 was the best. I don't know. My friend who played old school with me, who's a very smart man, even though he's on the right politically, but he's very smart, and I can talk to him. Haven't talked to him much lately, but I have been able to. He said 5th edition is beautifully written, superior. It's so much better than 3rd edition. He said 3rd edition had just crap. It was a lot of crap. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. A lot of people said 3.5 is really, really good. I don't like it. But I don't really know the differences between 3rd and 3.5, because when I saw 3rd and I looked through the book, I closed it and never bothered with it because I thought it was dumb. But I'm told 3.5 fixed a lot of problems, and a lot of people say it's the best. It's the best system. And I'm like, no, it's not the best system. This is the best system. This is the best system. Because this system says this game is hard. You can only, certain races can only be certain types of classes. It's very hard to succeed at this game, and it's hard to go up levels, and that's why everyone's going to love it. The reason this game changed the world, and it did, just like Pokemon changed the world, Magic the Gathering changed the world, Dungeons and Dragons changed the world, is because it was a challenging game that was hard to succeed at, and it fascinated our imagination, which is what Neville Goddard's all about. So influenced by this, along with Neville Goddard, that I wrote my book. This is D&D. This is book 1. And then I wrote book 2. So this is book 1. This is book 2. All about D&D, and Neville Goddard's influence on me, on the imagination, caused me to put some things in there, in the story. More in my short stories that I've shown videos on that. I just recently posted part 5 of my short story. I hope you all will listen to it, because you will hear Neville Goddard's influence in that story. The part 5 is called "In My Time of Dying," and it'll be plain and obvious when you get to it, and I think you'll really enjoy listening to it. But this game captured our imagination because there was no game like it. Now, before this, they had what was called original D&D, and it was in a box, a white box, it was a brown box, and I never had played any of that. I couldn't believe how basic that was. I saw it one day. I've never seen it in person, but I've seen there's videos about it. It is so basic of a game that it makes basic D&D look complex. So that was the real basics, and then this thing came out, and it was rushed. It was. This is not as well put together as it could be. I'm going to see if I can show you what I mean by that. Well, here's a perfect example. See how this page comes down? Hold on, let me fix it, and then it bleeds up over here on top. If they put this together more professionally, it would not have been like that. So like that happens throughout this book. So you have things where the pages carry over. I'm trying to see if I can find another one that does that. Here's where the part here starts right at the bottom and then continues over here. So they should have, it wasn't the setting, the setup, the layout wasn't as good as it could have been. Now it's all very professional looking. It's high glossy pictures, and I prefer this. I prefer this kind of look. This to me is great. I love the black and white. Love the black and white. I had a monster manual. I don't have my monster manual anymore. I don't know what I did with my monster manual. Love the black and white. The color looks cool, but I prefer the black and white. I really do. And this module, I don't care what anybody says, this is the best module ever written for D&D. This is the best module ever written. fifth edition players, because I would read comments. Some fifth edition players go, I read that mod. That module is so boring. Why do people like it? It's so boring. Like, you don't know. You just don't know. And I can't explain it to you. I can't explain to you the magic of this module, the magic of this place right here, the utter beauty of this module. And then these modules, which we played when I came back home and I'm in Chicago again and my friends are playing D&D, we went through G1, the Giants, and look how thin this is. There's nothing to it. It's like, 8 pages. It's nothing. And then this one, the Frost Giants. Oh my God, the Frost Giants. This is just phenomenal. When I first saw this, I was blown away. I said, wait, we're going to fight these guys? This is us? And we have to fight these guys? Oh my God. And then finally, that's G2. Then you go to G3 and you take on the crazy, humongous fire giants. And he's got a big bad sword and that's his armor. And that's the king. That's the fire giant king that we have to defeat. And this is the entrance here. And apparently you're going to ride on hippogriffs to get to the entrance. This module is nuts. This is nuts. This is crazy. Okay? So is this. This was my passion. When I got into this game, let me show you that again. These maps are unbelievable to me. I started reading modules and I knew I wanted to be a dungeon master. I was never a really good dungeon master. I mean, I was okay, like most people. We didn't know what we were doing. We just wanted to play and fight monsters. Fighting monsters was just the blast for us. The fact that we could kill giants with swords. It's an experience that I'll never forget. It has impacted my life so much that I wrote these 2 books because I was inspired by it, and this was one of the big influences on writing that story of mine. It was such a big influence on me that I wrote my own player's handbook. This is my player's handbook that I wrote, and I've got it. It needs a rewrite. It's big need of rewrite. But I did this all on my computer, printed it out, made my own player's handbook, because I wanted all the rules in one book. But when we were last playing D&D, we were using like 3 different rule books. We were looking up rules. We were using parts of 1st edition and parts of 2nd edition. And I said, you know what? I got the time. I'm going to try to put all the rules into one book. Unfortunately, we never played it. It never worked out. There's more, though. This is how crazy I was into this game. This is my copy of the wizard spells. Now, in this book are all the wizard spells, the magic user spells. They were called magic users back then. Now they're just called wizards. But the wizard spells start here on page 41. 41. This is where the spells start. And they go all the way to right about there, almost to the end of the book. So most of this book is just spells. So I had to put spells down, and I rewrote every single freaking spell. This is all the magic user spells. I mean, we're talking, I did all this on the computer. And then I did all the cleric spells. There's my book of cleric spells. And again, all of these need to be rewritten because there's mistakes, there's editing that I haven't done. But this is just what I did. And then I did all the druid spells. I didn't do illusionist spells because there's no reason to. So this is all of my druid spells are in here too. Still not done. Working on my campaign, when my wife and I were separated, we were separated for 8 years and we had 4 children. I was working on my D&D campaign because I wanted to play D&D with my family. Because this was my passion and this was what I wanted to do. Sadly, she divorced me, 2012, 2013, and that was the end of that. Never been able to play. But I worked on my campaign, and so my campaign that I worked on got turned into this book, turned it into a story. And I also took my world that I created, which is in the book. I've shown the map of it before. I also developed all the deities in that world. What deities will be in that world? So this is the book of all, of all the deities in the world. And I have information on every god and what the gods are like. Now, again, this is a rough draft. This needs a real big rewrite. Still not done. This is partly due to the fact that I had a lot of free time. We were separated for 8 years, and I did all of this mostly in that time. This is my how can I describe what's all in here? I'm just going to show you how big this is. There's a lot in here, and this is where I've got all the character sheets, and then I have all the possible random encounters that I worked out. All of these little, let me see if I can turn to the right page that'll show you how I did this. That's good enough. Basically, it's a combat chart. So when combat would occur, I'd have all of the stuff already written out on paper. I wanted it done. I was trying to simplify the game, make the game better, as good as I could make it. So I worked out all these possible random encounters, all the monsters that the party would encounter, and the combat sheet was ready to go. And I made my own. I made my own character sheets. Let me see what I can show. I guess it doesn't matter. So this is my character sheet that I created. I'll just let you see that for a second. And then I made spell sheets for the people casting spells, all kinds of sheets here, calendars, different things. It's crazy. And there's the blank combat chart sheets that I made. So I made all kinds of stuff because this was my passion. Now, I know I'm all over the place here, and that's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. I did manifest my reality. A lot of it was through hard work, but it all originates in my imagination and in my thoughts. And everything we do, Neville's right about that. Everything we do starts inside of us. It is inside of me that I started thinking I could turn my campaign into a story. I could write out how I want this campaign to work. If I could just have the players all do what I wanted them to do as the dungeon master, how would this campaign of mine go? And that was the basis that started me writing my books. After I wrote this book, I went a year without writing. I was frustrated, couldn't write. Wrote a little bit, couldn't write. Heard an interview by Ren. He said something about not being outcome driven, outcome dependent. Something switched in my brain. And I wrote this first book in 4 months, 540 pages in 4 months. The moment I heard that interview, I knew I was going to write book 2. I've been wanting to write book 2. I want to write books 3, 4, and 5. It's a 5-book series. I have the whole story in my head, but not all the details. I haven't worked out a lot of details. There's things I wrote in here that I don't even know where they came from. It wasn't even a thought in my head, and all of a sudden it was a thought in my head, and I wrote all this stuff. This needs a rewrite. It does. It needs a rewrite, and so does this one. But after hearing Ren in his interview with Rosalie Elliott, look it up on YouTube and listen to it, I knew I was going to write this book. So all of a sudden I wanted to write. There was a shift in my brain. And I wrote this in 6 months. This is 480 pages. I went over a year, I couldn't write. And then I wrote it in 6 months. It's been over a year since I've written that. I can't write. Why? Because I'm not committed to it? Because I haven't decided to do it? They say success is just a decision. I don't know. I decided I was going to make traffic less congested, and it worked. At least it felt like it worked. Like I said, I got that confirmation when my friend said, wow, there's a place to park. He goes, there's never a place to park here. I said, yeah, lately parking's been easier for me. I don't know why. And I was sitting there going, holy cow, this really is working, isn't it? How did I write those books? I can't write. I want to write books 3, 4, and 5. I need to rewrite these. I'm never going to do all that. I can't even fathom writing all this. I can't even fathom. If I had to write all this today, what? I have the time because I live alone. I have lots of free time. That's why I make YouTube videos. It's fun. I have all of these decks. You see these decks? I'm just guessing where the camera is. All of these are decks that I built for a card game. And here's more of those decks. All of these. I created all these decks. And those too. All of this over here. Those are all decks that I built for a card game that I play. But we don't play much because there's only a couple people who play and we don't get together very often. It's sad. I'd play that game every weekend if I could. I've done way more work than what I've shown you. At least, well, maybe not 2 times that. A lot of decks that I built for a lot of card games. Pokemon, Magic. Mostly Magic. But all my Magic cards are gone now. I traded them or sold them. Got rid of everything but Wyvern and a couple things over there that I might get rid of at some point. 46 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. Trying to think why I wanted to make this video. I don't even know why I wanted to make this video other than I just felt like talking about it and sharing it and seeing if this resonates with anybody. Would I love to get another video that blows up? Of course, my channel's monetized. Of course I want it to do great. I'd love to make money on YouTube. Who wouldn't want to make money on YouTube? But that's, again, it's not my motivation. If that's my motivation, if I'm not doing it because I want to do it, you should be able to see right through that. I see right through so many of these manifesting videos that people are making. There's this guy and he's really good at it. I forget his name. Young guy. And I liked his video. And then I saw another video by him and all of a sudden the algorithm's going, oh, would you like more videos by this guy? I'm like, how many videos has this guy made? Because he's got about 40,000 subscribers. So I clicked on his channel and I looked. Tons. And again, he's going, here's the secret to manifesting. This is all you need to do. And I'm like, then why have you made like 50 videos? What, 2, 3 videos? I could see that. Listen, if my dream life happens because of my imaginal acts that I've been imagining for the past 6 years, if all of a sudden someday this all works out for me and I am now living my dream life, I promise you, it might not happen right away, but I will absolutely make a video and it'll be titled something like "It Worked." Okay? I'm going to make this promise to everybody. And you can hold me to it. Only if it works, though. If I'm living my dream life, I will come on here, make a video and saying, it worked, and here's how it worked, and now I'm going to try my best to help you to show you how to make it work. And if I need to make a second video because people have questions, I'll make a second video. And if there's still people wanting a video, maybe I would make a third video. That's it. Why would I keep making videos? Well, it's simple. The guy's selling something that costs like $90-something, and he puts the link in the pinned comment of all his videos. And I think he's a nice guy. I like what he says. He's actually helped me. But I looked, I'm like, oh, and you're trying to sell something for $90-something. It's this thing that will help you. But he even says, you don't need it, but it will help you. And I'm like, that's why you keep making videos, because this is your livelihood. Why not just admit that? Maybe he has. Maybe he's admitted it because he seems genuine. And I I could put a link to his channel. If you want a link to his channel, I will put a link to his channel. I don't remember his name. He is good. He mentions Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy, Richard Dotz. He's mentioned some other ones. But he's done things like, so why are you making that video? Wait, why are you making that video? Come on. You know, but I'm pretty sure this is his full-time job. This is what he does. And I think that was his revelation. Hey, I could make money doing this. That doesn't mean he's a bad guy. It doesn't. But I will, if this works. But I think the way this works is that you do exactly what Jesus said. Believe that you already have it, and it shall be yours. And I think that's a trick. How do I believe that I already have something? I can do that, but can I, an hour later, still be feeling that I already have it? How about a day later? How about 3 days later? Am I still walking around? Because as Neville said, if you persist in the feeling, it will harden into fact. How do you persist in the feeling that you already have something that you know you don't have? My example that I used in one of my videos was a Ferrari. I don't care about a Ferrari. If I was wealthy, I probably still wouldn't buy a Ferrari. I might go on a test drive just to see what it's like to test drive one. I don't think I'd buy one because I don't care about it. I might, but I don't think so. That's not what I'm trying to manifest. But if I believed that I already had a Ferrari, supposedly I will get a Ferrari. It'll happen. How do I persist in that feeling that I already have a Ferrari? Well, every day you have to try to make, and then they say, no, don't do that. If you already have a Ferrari, you're not trying to convince yourself that you already have a Ferrari. If you already had a Ferrari, you wouldn't be going, okay, I have a Ferrari. I have a Ferrari. It's real. No. What would you do if you had a Ferrari? You'd be like, yeah, I have a Ferrari. It's out right out there. It's parked in you want to go see it? I'll show it to you. So you have to feel the feeling that you already have a Ferrari. And all I could come up with is I'd be relaxed. I'd be calm. I wouldn't be depressed. Let's not go with a Ferrari. Let's go with your dream life, because that's what we all want. Okay? Believe that you already have it, your dream life, and it shall be yours. Future tense. It shall be yours if you believe you already have it. If I already have my dream life right now, how would I be talking to you? Probably not much different than I'm talking right now. But how would I go about my day if I believed that I already have my dream life? If you persist in the feeling, it will harden into fact. That's what Neville taught. I would be calm. I would be relaxed. I wouldn't be depressed. I wouldn't be angry. I wouldn't be frustrated. Nothing to be frustrated about. So the feeling I would have is I would just be happy, calm, relaxed, chilled, cool. And nothing's going to bother me. I'm living my dream life. And so for the past several days, I've been trying to feel that feeling and just be calm and happy. And I realized I haven't been doing that. I've been doing my job, wanting my job to end so I can go home and relax. I'm like, I can't wait till I'm done with these dog walks so I can go home. It's like, or I get frustrated on the walks when something would happen. I'm like, I'm tired of this. And I'd have a frustrating day. Or some days the day's good, but I still just want to go home. And sometimes I'd go home and then I'd be bored and there's nothing to do because I'm not writing and I'm not working on any of my hobbies and I'm sitting on YouTube. I'm like getting bored. And I said, what would I be doing right now if I had my dream life? So I imagine I'm in my dream home, living my dream life. And I realized I would be calm and happy and relaxed. And I would feel great. So I tried to assume that feeling throughout the day as often as I can for the last several days. But your mind will start wandering. And I'll start thinking about things that I shouldn't be wasting my time thinking about, that aren't doing me any good. This stupid world. Look at all this evil that's in the world. Look at these horrible things that are happening. Man, there's so many. You could just sit here and drown yourself in all the negativity that's going on in this world. There's people suffering right now. There's people dying. It's horrible. And you can become very depressed if you focus on that. And so if I let all that go and say, wait, just assume it sounds real selfish to do this. But as Neville once said, and I heard him say this, and it really helped me, the best thing you can do for the world is get yourself right. Become the best version of yourself is the best thing you can do for all the suffering that's in the world. Become the best version of you. What is that version? Again, easy to say, hard to do, but don't look at it as hard. People have been pointing this out in the comments to me. You keep thinking it's hard. That's why it's hard for you. Because you've convinced yourself that it's hard. And I said, it is hard. And I'm like, no, you're right. It really isn't hard. All you have to do is believe that you already have it and it shall be yours. That's not hard. It's easy. So I started saying, okay, it's easy to manifest. I started telling myself, it is. This is easy. And I started feeling good. And I'm enjoying my days. I don't know why I decided to make a video. I wasn't going to make a video until Monday. If I make a video on Monday, I'll tell you why. I won't mention why. I wasn't going to make anything until Monday. We'll get into that on Monday if I make a video on Monday. I'll try to remember to do it. I don't think I'll make another one before then. But being calm and feeling good because I'm already living my dream life. I'm not here, I'm in my dream home. Doing all the things that I would do if I was living my dream life. I know everything that I do. I worked all of this out in my mind. I have a specific dollar amount. I didn't want to, but then I said, no, that doesn't matter. It could be more or less than that. It doesn't matter. If it was half that or twice that, it's fine. I don't need to lock it in like that. But I did have a number in my head that I want. But it doesn't matter. I know there's a minimum that I want, enough that I could retire. That's the minimum. How much would I need so that I could retire? So that I could sit on my butt and do nothing for the rest of my life. How much would I need? That's easy to figure out. I don't want to sit on my butt and do nothing for the rest of my life. I'm just saying I could. That's what I want. Freedom. That's what you want. That's what everyone wants, is freedom. Freedom to work if you want to work, not because you have to work. That's what everybody wants. So I say we should create that society. We'd all still have to work, Garbage needs to be picked up, food, farming, all the things that still need to be done. But it's ridiculous that we have all of this massive wealth concentrated in less than 1% of the population, that if we took half of that, we could spread it out to everyone in the whole world and there'd be no poverty in the world, and the rich would still be rich. And by the way, they could make all of that back anyway. I don't know why rich people are trying to make more money and pay less in taxes when they can make money hand over fist easily. You don't think it's easy? If you had $1 billion, okay, and you got only 3% return on $1 billion, figure that out. You take 3%, you divide it by 12, and you realize how much you'd be making every month. Do the math. 3% of 1 billion divided by 12, that number is what they're making every month on just 3%. Take 2%, take 1%. These people invest money, and that money makes them money. And they want to pay less in taxes. Why? Why? Who cares? Why? You have more money than you'll ever need. Why isn't that enough? Why aren't you satisfied? Why do you need more? What are you going to do with it? They're not going to do anything with it. All they're going to do is make more money with it so that they'll have more money so that they can make more money with the money that they make, and they can just keep making more money to make more money. It's dumb. It's really dumb. There's a lot of good billionaires out there who give away a lot of their money because they realize they don't need it. I don't know why they need it. All I need is enough to live comfortably so that I don't have to do anything, but I can do whatever I want to do. That's what everyone wants. They already have that, and they're still not happy. If you're not happy, why aren't you wondering why you're not happy? If you're a multimillionaire or a billionaire and you're not happy, that should be telling you something. Because if I am living my dream life, I can't imagine how I could be happier. And when I assume that feeling today and yesterday and the day before that, I feel wonderful. I'm at peace. And my mind starts going down paths. I'm like, stop. Don't think about those things. What are you thinking about those things for? Be still and know that I am God. The moment I tell myself to be still and know that not I am God, but that God is God, God is in me. It's God saying, be still and know that I am God. For those of you who think you're God, I don't think I'm God. I don't think we're God. I think we are connected to God, part of God. The simulation frequency girl said, we're part of the fractal. I thought that was very cool. I believe we are all part of the fractal of God, or we are a fractal. I forget her exact words, but it's very neat. Simulation frequency. Interesting stuff. She believes it's a simulation, and I pretty much agree. This is a simulation. Because when I can control my thoughts and give myself feelings of peace and feel good. And I just watched Jim Carrey talk about, and I'll try to remember to put the link to the Jim Carrey short. It's a short where he came to realize that it's our thoughts that are causing most, if not all, of the suffering. It's not all, it's most. Our thoughts is what's causing suffering. I was in bliss the moment I assume the feeling of my wish fulfilled. I enter a state of bliss because I realize if I already have it, now I'm free to do whatever I want. I could go to Rome tomorrow. I could go to Hawaii. I could take a vacation and go anywhere in the world. I can go find any house that I want and buy it. Like, hey, I'd really like to buy that house over there. That's a nice house. I could buy it. I'm not going to do that unless I really wanted to buy it. The fact that I could. That's the feeling I want. That's the life that I want. And I bet that's the life you want. I don't need billions. I'll take billions. Oh yeah, I could. The more money I have, the more I can do. The more good I can do. There are a lot of billionaires who give away a lot of money because they want to do good in the world. I can't imagine not wanting to do good in the world if I had billions of dollars. I can't imagine that I wouldn't do good in the world. There's people starving. Let's start there. Let's stop. Let's end starvation. Ending poverty is too hard for you? Okay, let's end starvation. How about that? Don't you want to stop? Well, don't you want to end starvation so that nobody starves to death? I do. I wish I could. I'm not God. And God isn't ending it, which tells you something about God. Unless, of course, you believe in atheism and there is no God. That's fine. I always say if you're an atheist, just do the manifesting and substitute the word God for the word the universe. The universe is in me. The universe is my infinite supply. I am one with the universe. Through the universe, I can do all things. My thoughts and the universe are one. We are one. It is my supply. It gives me everything. The universe provides me with everything I need. See? It works. You can be an atheist. Doesn't bother me one bit if somebody's an atheist. Doesn't bother me one bit if somebody believes in evolution or believes in the literal story of creation in the Bible and there was a literal Adam and Eve. There's a man named Kent Hovind who's one of many young earth creationists, but he believes in the literal story of Adam and Eve. I think he's crazy. I wish somebody could figure out how to view the past, because that's what I think is going to happen in the future. Someone's going to figure out how to view the past. Think about it. We can already view the past right now. Everything on video is the past. And you can call it up and watch it anytime you want. Everything on YouTube is from the past. Well, what if we could view anything from the past? Remember the movie The Time Machine, H.G. Wells, the original Time Machine? Imagine if we could sit in that time machine and just turn it on and travel back in time and make it go anywhere we want it. It'll transport to anywhere you want, any point in time, and you can't get out of it. No one's going to see you, but wherever you are, you can just look. And you can just observe, and you can watch the past. It's like a movie all around you. The sci-fi show Babylon 5 had a scene where they could see everything all around them. It was like a hologram, but it was all visual of what the battles that were going on out in space, and they're in the space station, and they're watching all around them. And I said, if we could view the past, and I believe someone's going to figure out how to do this. I believe this can be done. I don't believe we can time travel and interact with the past. I mean, maybe we could. And I don't believe we can go into the future. Maybe we can. But imagine if we could just view the past. Oh, Mr. Hovind, would you like to see if Adam and Eve are real? We can go back in time now. Would you like to do it? If we went back in time and there was no Adam and Eve, he'd just say, this is of the devil. This isn't real. And if you, and just to throw it on the other side, if we showed an atheistic evolutionist who was absolutely certain in what he believed, and we go back in time and there's Adam and Eve, he'd go, well, this is baloney. I bet he'd reject it too. Truth is real hard for people if it contradicts what they believe. Which is why my worldview can't be destroyed. That's the other reason I'm making this. I just realized this. I should tell you this. There's a worldview that you should have that it can't be destroyed. Ken Hovind's worldview is young earth creationism. If that's not true, his worldview is destroyed. He couldn't handle that. He absolutely refuses to even consider it a possibility. The atheist who believes in evolution, well, if evolution is one day proven to be false, no way. It'll destroy his worldview. My worldview isn't that evolution is true or false, or that Adam and Eve is true or false, or that anything is true or false. My worldview is simple. Truth is more important than my beliefs. Therefore, if Adam and Eve are true, then that's true. I'd be shocked, because I believe that whole thing is allegory, spiritual, metaphorical, and that I think Adam represents our conscious mind and Eve represents our subconscious mind. I think that's it, and that the subconscious mind is in subjection to the conscious mind. So the Bible says, the woman, Eve, you shall be in subjection to your husband. And people think therefore women need to be in subjection to the man. And we have all kinds of problems that have emanated from that. But what if it meant your subconscious mind is in subjection to your conscious mind? And that story is simply that Adam and Eve represent this aspect of us, inside of us. So when Neville Goddard says, the Bible says, Christ in us, the hope of glory. I'm giving our today's Bible lesson, folks, and come on in and have a seat. Christ in us, the hope of glory. Well, how is a human being inside of me? Where the heck is he? So that's why Neville didn't believe in the historical Jesus. He said, no, Christ is in you. It's not literal. He didn't believe in the literal Jesus. I do. But it doesn't matter to me now. Jesus doesn't have to be historical. The real Christ is in us. It represents our subconscious mind. Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit? What? The Holy Spirit is God. Oh, well, that's a spirit. That can be inside of us. Okay, but how is Jesus inside of us? It says Christ in us. So I believe in spirituality, and I believe that our thoughts come from this subconscious mind of ours that creates our reality. And that's why we're always manifesting anyway. So stop trying to manifest. You're already manifesting. Believe that you already have the thing you want, and then you have to let it go and forget about it. That's the other thing I didn't realize Neville taught. Because in the lecture I listened to, and the other lectures I listened to by him, it didn't say anything about dropping it or letting it go. And then somebody's telling me that I'm reading in comments, people say, yeah, I let it go, and then it happened. And I never did that. So I've been trying to do that. I'm trying to just let it go. But every night, I try to imagine that I'm sleeping in my dream home. But when I get up in the morning, I don't try to imagine, but I find myself still imagining at times. I'll keep doing it. It's like, no, let it go. Drop it. Letting go also means forgiving yourself. I didn't know this. The book, Hawkins' book. Hold on. I bought this book, never read it. Letting Go by Hawkins. He's on YouTube. You can look him up. There's a short. I'll try to remember to put this in the description. Letting go, according to him, if you break it all down, so you don't even have to read this book, is forgiving your past self, whatever you've done in the past. And it made perfect sense to me when he said it. And so I've been trying to let that go. But we don't. We don't forgive ourselves for what we've done in the past. And that's also what Christ is all about. Being forgiven. Being cleansed. The righteousness of Christ applied to you. Now you're free. Now you can live free. You've been absolved of all of your past guilt. That's beautiful. And that makes sense on a spiritual level. That we're in our own way. That our thoughts betray us. Our thoughts are blocking us from having the life and living the life that we want to live. We're in our own way. Now I'm teaching you how to manifest. I'm becoming a manifesting coach. It hasn't worked for me. And yet it is working for me because we manifest 24/7. We're always manifesting. Because our thoughts create our reality. And what we believe about ourselves and what we believe about the world is creating our reality, because that's our vibration, and our vibration is what the universe is connected. The universe only can feel our vibration, and it matches it. But it's like, wait a second, I can be negative and something good can happen to me, and I can be positive and something bad can happen to me. That's what I used to argue. It's like, wait a second, it's not 100%. So I don't fully understand that, because I've been negative and all of a sudden something good happens, and I've been positive and something. You could be in a positive state and boom, you're having an accident. You can have a terrible thing happen. Boy, my nose is itchy again. The pathway of surrender. That's what I first learned when I got into. I didn't even realize it said that on the book. In meditation, I learned through experience of the meditation that surrender is the path. Not fight the good fight. The world taught me to fight the good fight. Rocky's theme, the theme to Rocky, Eye of the Tiger. It's fun, great story, great movie. No, the path is surrender. Let go. Be still and know that I am God, the infinite creator, the universe, and there's nothing to be concerned about. And then, whatever you believe to be true, if you are in harmony with God and or the universe, and I do try to be in harmony with both, just because it feels right to do that, then everything will come to me. So if my dream life happens, I will come on here and tell you what happened and why it happened, and I will do my best to help people achieve their dream life. Because I want the entire world to achieve their dream life. Because see, the world that I live in, it's real simple philosophy. If everyone is living their dream life, my life would be way better. Two scenarios. I get my dream life, and the world is what it is. Or I get my dream life, and so does everybody else. If those are your options, are you taking your dream life with the world the way it is, or would you take your dream life and everyone else also has their dream life? If you don't care about this option, then you're basically no different than Trump or Musk. Selfish, greedy, no conscience, no empathy, pretty much a soulless, I don't know what. And I shouldn't judge them. See, there's no point in me doing that. But it's hard not to, because I see right through them. And I don't understand why everyone doesn't see right through them. It's so obvious how messed up and how wrong they are and how bad they are. I don't get it. I don't get I don't get this fascination with believing that Trump is a good, moral Christian man who loves America and cares about people, because none of that's true. It's so obvious that it's not true. I don't understand. Same with Musk. I didn't realize what a horrible man he is. I didn't think that about him at first. Then I've learned. It's like, my God, he's as bad as Trump. And now they're having a feud. That's hilarious. But anyway, I don't need to sit in judgment of those people, even though I just did. That's not helping me. It's not helping me to dwell on the evil that people do. Because now I'm dwelling on evil things that people do, and that's my vibration, which is now going into the universe. That's not bringing me the life that I want. Bringing me the life that I want is to think about that life and believe that it's already here. It's not about trying to get it here. It's about believing that it's already here. And that's a subtle shift, because I was trying to get it to happen. Now, if I just think like this, it'll start to, no, don't do that. Let go. Man, this is a long video. Almost an hour and 20 minutes. You people are going to think I'm nuts. Oh my God, he made a video where he's talking for an hour and 20 minutes. What's wrong with this nut? I don't know. I like talking, if you haven't figured that out. I should do a podcast. I should. Maybe I will. Maybe that's better than making a YouTube video, is do a podcast and talk to people. I'd love to interview people. You know how many people I'd like to interview on YouTube? It's part of my dream life, by the way. I would be interviewing people on YouTube. Oh, and I'd have 2 YouTube channels. I'm not going to go into why, but there'd be a reason for a second. Because my YouTube channel has a variety of things on it. There's no reason for me to make a second YouTube channel. There would be a reason, I'm going to say when, because I should say when I'm living my dream life, there will be a second YouTube channel, and you'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. And that might be the channel where we interview people, or I might interview people on this channel, or both. I don't know. Some people that I'd love to interview. couldn't do it now. They'd never agree. Why would they come on? No, who are you? It wouldn't happen. But if I could interview anyone, here's some of the people I would interview. Okay, in no particular order. Ren, and start with Ren. Go check them out. Popcorn in Bed. Both Cassie and Carly. I'd love to interview both of them. They do a podcast. I'd love to be on their podcast one day. The Charismatic Voice. Her name is Elizabeth. Lovely woman. Really fun woman. She's living her dream life. She just said that in her video the other day. She just had a baby and she has a little boy and he's, oh my God, he's so cute. You know, she's living a very happy life. There's more. Rosalie Elliott. I would love to interview her. John Anderson of Yes, Rick Wakeman of Yes, Bill Bruford, anybody from Yes. I'd love to interview them. King Crimson. There's other YouTube channels. Jen Murray. Love to interview Jen Murray. Cool girl. Ashley Burton would be fun. I like her. I'd love to hang out with Ashley Burton sometime. Her and her husband. She's a hoot. She's just a cool girl. I'd really like to hang out with her. And there's others, you know, Nick and Lex. Nicknlex. Nick and Lex. Love to interview them. They're great. And there's more. There's more. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy talking about stuff. I love talking about D&D. Even if you love 5th edition and think this edition sucks. I'm not going to hate you. I'm not going to call you an idiot. It's like, look, we disagree. Let's have a civil discussion about why you think 5th edition is so much better. And let's not yell at each other. Because I don't want to do that. I think 5th edition sucks. I think Wizards of the Coast D&D sucks. And I think this, though flawed, and there were things about this that we didn't use, because it's like, yeah, that's kind of weird. But this is the greatest game ever created. And Wizards of the Coast watered it down, sanitized it, and made it silly, and made all of the characters way overpowered to the point of absurdity. And yet people love that game. It is the most popular version of D&D ever. And people were getting into an argument with me about this, saying, you don't even know what you're talking about, man. This game is way better than your game. This game is the least popular game now, the 5th edition. I said, of course, that's the one that's current. Of course that's the most popular. When 2nd edition came out, in no time at all, it was like 90% of the players were playing 2nd edition. They all stopped playing this. Eventually, it just took over because that was the current edition. But this one's better. I like 2nd edition. I do. I like it. I incorporated some of 1st, some of 2nd, some of the book Castles and Crusades. Where's my book? In this, my Player's Handbook utilizes aspects of 1st edition, 2nd edition, Castles and Crusades, and my house rules. We all had house rules for D&D. Almost everybody used house rules. That's really what created 2nd edition. 2nd edition D&D is just a series of house rules that the TSR put together and made 2nd edition because they had to get Gary Gygax off the payroll because he was no longer in the company. At least I think that's what it was. Yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah. Pretty sure. But every edition of D&D is made for money. That's the only reason they make another edition. You don't need another edition. You don't need another edition. All you needed are new revisions, revised rules, different concepts. You never needed a new edition. There was never a reason. Once this was made, the original D&D needed this. Once this was made, the only thing you needed after this was new rules, alternate rules, revisions, adjustments, little things here and there. But it never needed to be called anything but this. There was never a reason to say 2nd edition. The only reason they made 2nd edition was because Gary was no longer with the company and this had his name on it. the game never should have been taken from him. It's a horrible thing that happened. Completely illegal back in the day, but the rules were changed and they stole the company from him. Completely illegal if it was 1950, 1960, even 1970. They never could have done that. But the rules of the game changed, and that's why corporate America now owns our country and owns our government, because the rules were changed. This company was stolen from him. I don't know the full details. I don't know all the details. I know enough. They took it from him. And the courts sided with them. The creator of the game. You can't take the game and give it to people who didn't create it and take it from the guy who created it. But no, they can. It's insane. I can't imagine that happening to me if I created a game. Are you kidding me? They took the game from him because together they had a majority of the ownership of it. He made a mistake. He messed up. And had he caught his mistake, he could have prevented it, and they never could have stolen the company from him. But they took it right out from under him, legally. That's how messed up our world is right now, and that's why companies are buying up little companies, and little companies are going out of business all over this country. And mark my words, now I'm going to be a prophet. I predict in less than 50 years, and I'll probably not be alive in 50 years because I'm going to be 63 in just a few days. I'll be 113 then in 50 years. In less than 50 years, I predict that corporations will own everything, and I mean everything, and people will own nothing. Nothing. No small businesses. Nope. All businesses will be owned by corporations. All property will be owned by corporations. All land will be owned by corporations. If these trends continue. This is where we're heading. Now, I believe that ultimately we are heading to paradise, because paradise is the purpose and meaning for why we're here, to build paradise. Right now, paradise is inside of us, and we need to wake up to that reality. Because I've been living in that paradise, not perfectly, obviously, but I can create that paradise in my mind very easily. I just assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and realize that I already am living my life, and I'm like, wow, this feels great. And we can have this all happen for everybody. Wim Hof will help you with all of what I'm talking about. Go listen to Wim Hof. Try his method. It's deep breathing exercises and a cold shower. You can start warm water, slowly adapt to the cold water. You won't believe what you can do. I can take an ice bath now. It's cold, but it feels great. I haven't taken one in a long time. I take a cold shower. It feels great. And I can hold my breath. If I practice for over 2 minutes, I can hold my breath. It's insane. There's a video of me outside here in Chicago from about a year ago. It was -8. I said this in a different video. -8 below zero. I had my little hat on that covers my head, like a little hood thing on my head. I had gloves. T-shirt. I was warm because of the Wim Hof method. -8 Fahrenheit, not Celsius. -8 degrees below zero. In my t-shirt, warm. I had gloves on because my extremities will get cold. And I wanted to keep my ears covered and keep my head warm. So I had the hat thing on my head. That's it. You can watch it. It's there. I'll try again. I have to write all these links down. Okay, I put that link in the description. If you want the link to the guy who teaches manifesting that I mentioned, put that in the comments. If one person asks for it, I'll put the link in the description. I'm not going to include his channel because I did say some negative things about him. I do think he's a good guy. You'll find it. But if you want the link, just ask for it. and I'll put it in there to his channel. He has some good stuff, but he is just doing it for the money. Well, I shouldn't say that. He might have several reasons why he does it, but he seems legit to me. He doesn't seem like, like some of these manifestors who come on there. Oh, there's some good ones. There's some good ones. Man, there's some silly ones. I couldn't believe when I saw Napoleon Hill, a video with Napoleon Hill, and it said, and it must have been AI, because I can't believe Napoleon Hill said this. I don't know much about Napoleon Hill, but I know he's famous in this genre. There's these three words that will change your whole world. You know what the three words were? I am wealth. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Ready? I am wealth. I am wealth. I am wealth. There, I said it 3 times. Surely something is going to change now. And people are typing in the comments, I am wealth. And I'm like, oh my God, they actually believe saying I am wealth is going to work. And they also believe that typing I am wealth is going to work. If I just type in the comments, I am wealth. People do this all the time. Whatever the manifesting teacher says, say this in the comments. They do it. And I'm like, do you really think that's going to do something? Because you typed those words. Oh, yes, because that's your thoughts. See? Well, maybe if you really believe it will work, but aren't you kind of just being controlled by the person making the video who makes now say this in the comments. It's like when they say, don't forget to like and subscribe and click that bell. Why are people saying that? And most YouTube channels say that. Why? Successful YouTube channels say it. I know channels that don't say it. And I compliment them for not saying it. Nikki Lou. I think it's Nikki Lou. Is that her name? She's movie reactions. She's great. She's awesome. No introduction. No signing off. The video starts and she's talking with her boyfriend who you can't see. And she's sitting on a couch. She's sideways like this, and she's just a hoot. She's great, and she watches the movie and she reacts to the movie, and they talk about it afterward, and the video just ends. There's no hi, welcome back to my channel, and there's no signing off. She's just cool. I love her. I was like, damn, you got a great girl there, man. This girl's like a trip. Oh, I love this girl. And I'm not. No. I'm not. I don't mean that. Would I date her if I was her age and she was single? Oh, yeah, sure. Same with all the girls that I mentioned in these videos. If they were single and I was around their age, yes, I would absolutely date them. Yeah, they're good looking and they're wonderful. What's not to like? That is irrelevant to the point, though. Who cares? So what? Most people would. If you're an attractive woman and you're single, most men would be happy to be dating you. That's just normal. This is, come on. Is it Nikki Lou? I think that's her name. Great movie reaction channel. She only has like 20, 30,000 subscribers. But she's cool. And she never asks me to like and subscribe. And I love that about her. I get so tired of these people. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh yeah, I better not forget. Oh wait, let me do that right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. What? Have you ever liked a video because somebody asked you to like it? Did you ever subscribe to a channel because somebody asked you to subscribe? And did you ever click on that stupid bell? I used to click on the bell. I unclicked them. They're annoying. Ding, you got a new notification. Ding. Oh my God. And they just pop up every time somebody puts out a video. There's another. I don't want the notification. All I have to do is click on subscriptions and I'll see the order that they came in. So I unclicked that stupid bell and people are still telling me to click. Don't forget to click the bell. No, I will not click your bell. If I subscribe to your channel, I'm not clicking your bell. And if I like your video, the only reason I'm going to click that I liked it is because I liked it. Isn't that weird? I'm not going to click like every time. Why would you click like in this video if you're like, geez, you've talked for I'm checking, over an hour and a half. I'm not going to click like on your dumb video. If you didn't like this video, why would you click like? And why would my asking you or reminding you, oh, okay, yeah, you're right, I should do that. I'm not against people liking and subscribing. That's great. But why am I asking? What the hell? What are we doing? Nobody did that when YouTube started. I think YouTube tells these people to do this. I can't wait for them to try to tell me. Now make sure to tell your people to like. Don't forget. I hope they don't tell me to do that. I was talking about this with my nephew a couple years ago. He goes, yeah, but if you say that, then you're asking. I said, no, I'm not really. I'm just pointing out how silly that is. He goes, yeah, but you kind of are. I'm like, no. He was kind of like getting on my case. He's like 30 years old now. So, but didn't you just tell them to do that? No, that's not me telling them. I don't. No. You are bringing it up though. He did have a point. Okay, I think I'm done. I think I've said what I wanted to say tonight. I think I'm going to go back to feeling that my dream life is already here, and though I would probably make videos similar to this if I was already living my dream life and I was in my dream home right now. I might make videos where I just come on. I'd probably do a live stream where I come on and talk to people. I don't know if I want to do a live stream. I could, maybe. I like going on people's live streams. When Nick and Lex do a live stream, I've been in the comments there. The Dungeon Minister just did a live stream, and I was in the comments there. It was, nice. Love the Dungeon Minister. He's an Anglican priest, and I love the guy. Got his little priest collar he wears. Doesn't bother me one bit. If I was an atheist, it wouldn't bother me. If I thought that's stupid, it wouldn't bother me. I don't think it's stupid. I don't think it's necessary that he wears this thing that he wears, but he's an Anglican priest. But I like him. He loves D&D. An Anglican priest that loves D&D, my kind of guy. Right away. I mean, I connected with this guy. Boom. The moment I saw his channel, I went, oh, here's my brother right here. This guy's great. And he used to be an atheist. I've never been an atheist. Came close a couple times in my life. I was like, yeah, I'm tired of this. I don't believe in God anymore. I don't think there is a God. And I thought about that. I'm like, let me run with that. There is no God. What does that mean? And I couldn't do it. This is what I'd love to sit. That's a guy I'd love to talk to, even though he'd probably run circles around me. Is Sam Harris or Matt Dillahunty. I'd love to talk to those guys. They're not going to talk to me because I'm nobody. But I'd love to talk to them. And I'd love to talk to them about atheism versus theism. Because like I said, truth is more important than my beliefs. There might not be a God. Atheism might be true. What would I do if that's the case? Nothing. What am I going to do? I said that to a person who believed in God. I said, and we're talking on Facebook, I said, if someone proved that there is no God, what would you do? And the first thing she said, and we're messaging, we're on Messenger, I'd kill myself. Why? Because there'd be no point in living. I said, you've been living your life, and all this time there was no God, you just didn't know. So now you're going to kill yourself because you find out there's no God? First of all, there's the universe. If there's no God, then I would conclude that the universe is God. The universe. You could say, well, that's pantheism. Whatever, I don't care. If there's no God, then I think the universe is God. That would be my conclusion. But even if that's not true, whatever is true regardless of what you believe. Let go of your need to be right. I don't need to be right about anything. Neville Goddard could have been wrong. Jesus could have been wrong. I don't believe that. But it's possible. Anything's possible. I hope the God of the Old Testament is not God. These born-again Christians who believe in the inerrant Bible, I guess I'm not done talking today. I guess my video's not ending yet. These born-again Christians who believe in the inerrant Bible, have you read Numbers and Deuteronomy? Have you read those books? Read Numbers and Deuteronomy. Just those two. And come back to me and tell me that God is love, perfect, merciful, just, and good. Perfect being. God is love. It says that in the Bible. God is love. Read Numbers and Deuteronomy and tell me that. And read Ezekiel 9. And tell me. And I have not read all of the Old Testament. I can't. I've tried. Couldn't get through it. I've read Genesis, Exodus, parts of Leviticus, parts of Numbers, parts of Deuteronomy, love Ecclesiastes, some of the Psalms, some of the Proverbs, some of like Isaiah and Zechariah and Chronicles. Oh, hell no. No. Try to read 1st and 2nd Chronicles. Let me know how that goes for you. Some of you have read the whole Bible. I knew an atheist who said he read the Bible 12 times. I went, 12? What? You've read the Bible 12 times? He goes, yeah. He goes, I used to be a born-again Christian. I said, what? It was a wild guy to have a talk to. And I said, now you're an atheist. He goes, yep. And then I said, so are you convinced there's no God? He goes, no. He goes, there could be a God. I could be wrong. There might be a God. I said, oh, so you're an agnostic atheist. He said, right, I'm an agnostic atheist. I don't believe there is a God. And he really liked me because I was criticizing the hellfire preachers and this whole thing that we're all going to hell and unless you believe in Jesus. And I took issue with that. And he really liked me because of that. And he showed me why he thinks the God of the Old Testament is evil. And he made a really good case for it, but I also defended the God of the Bible, even though I acknowledged there are problems in the Old Testament. I said, I don't need the Bible to be inerrant, to be the Word of God. That is, the Word of God is contained in Scripture, that you can find truth in it. Born-again Christians need it perfect. They said, if there's one mistake in it, then you can't trust any of it. That's their logic. Think about that logic. If there's one mistake in the Bible, then you can't trust any of it. No, there'd just be that one mistake that you can't trust. You could trust the rest of it. If there's 400 things in the Bible that are wrong, but everything else is right, then you can trust the things that are right, and you can't. And we reject this part. I reject the parts where God said, hang them in the sun that my anger might be appeased. I reject the parts that said, kill all the women and children. I reject the parts where God commanded that swords be run through pregnant women's bellies. And etc., etc. Because if that's God, this is what I said to a born-again Christian once. And again, I don't know anything. I'm not a genius. I know what I know. I believe what I believe. I could be wrong about anything. I'm not speaking dogmatically. But I said this to a born-again Christian. I said, so God is perfect. God is love. The Bible's perfect. God never lies, right? So when you go to heaven, you're going to be in heaven. It's going to be perfect. And if I go to hell, I'm going to be burning in fire, blah, 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 blah. So I'm screwed. And you're in bliss, right? Okay, yeah. I said, okay. Tomorrow, let's just play. I'm pretending that I'm God. And I say to him now, here's what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to burn you in fire for one day. He goes, God would never do that. I said, why? He said, because God would never do that. I said, he's burning all of us in fire for all eternity. You're now in heaven, and God says to you, all of you in heaven, all of you, I'm going to burn you for one day, 24 hours, once a year, just so that you'll realize that this is where you belong. You all deserve to be here. And I've decided, because I'm God, that I'm going to do this. You didn't know this was going to happen. Oh no, God would never do that. How do you know? Because God can't lie. And God said that would never happen. Why can't God lie? Because he says he can't. He says he won't. You want to say that again? You're assuming that God can't lie. What if he lies? Who's going to stop him? He's God. You've already told me that I can't sit in judgment of God when God did all those horrible things in the Old Testament. Who am I to judge God? I said, okay, then you can't judge God either. If I can't judge God for running swords through pregnant women's bellies and say that that's wrong, that's a horrible thing to do, or kill all the children, which he commanded, kill everybody, and the livestock. Go read Ezekiel 9. You want to see it? I said, you're in heaven, and all of a sudden you hear that God's going to burn everybody alive for 24 hours once a year. Oh no, he'll never do that. How can you can't judge God? You just told me I can't judge God. What if God's going to do it? You would have to accept that. You good with that? How do you like in heaven now? Oh, that would never happen. What? You just said God can do anything he wants. You cannot sit in judgment of anything he does. He is free to do if he wants to murder babies, he can. It's not wrong. Whatever God does is not wrong. Then he can burn you alive too. I said, I'd be really careful. I wouldn't want to be in that heaven. I don't want to go there. With a God that can literally do anything he wants, and there's nothing I can do, and I can't sit in judgment of him, and there's no way to stop him. Because he's all-knowing and all-powerful. I can't judge him. I can't sit in judgment of him. For burning people alive for all eternity, I can't sit in judgment of that. Then you can't sit in judgment of him for burning you for 24 hours once a year, because that's nothing. So you scream in fire for 24 hours. But you couldn't scream. You couldn't handle 5 seconds. You couldn't put your finger in fire like this. You couldn't hold it there for 5 seconds. You can't even do it. People don't think about what they're believing. I do. I think about it. I used to be a born-again Christian. I never believed in literal eternal hell. But I became a born-again Christian in the UBF cult at Northeastern Illinois University. You can look up UBF, University Bible Fellowship. It's a cult. A lot of Koreans there, really nice people. It was a nice place. We studied the Bible. It's a cult. Sad. It's all mind control. I was not a member of Herbert Armstrong's church, the Worldwide Church of God, but I joined Garner Ted's church, the Church of God International. He eventually got kicked out of that church because he got caught doing things. And he formed the Intercontinental Church of something, and half the church went with him. Then he got pneumonia and died around 70 years old. I'm sure he was shocked. I think I mentioned this in another video too, but whatever. I met Garner Ted. Seemed like a nice guy. Was a member of his church for 2 years. Finally learned, after thinking through this stuff and reasoning it out and listening to all the stuff that was being said, they're wrong. I no longer believed it. I embraced universalism. Still do for the most part. I think it's the most logical step that we all end up saved. Because God is love. So why would anybody be burned alive for all eternity? I don't believe anyone's going to be burned alive. I think that's all spiritual language. That the burning, the fire, is a cleansing fire. And the Bible even hints at that at some points. That the fire cleanses you, ultimately. It burns, but it's a cleansing fire. Some people think that's heresy on my part to talk like that. I'm not claiming it's true. I'm just saying. I don't take it literally. But I can listen to anyone who wants to tell me what the Bible means. I've listened to Paul Washer. Have you ever listened to Paul Washer? Wow, that man. He's a Calvinist. My friend was a Calvinist. He was an atheist. He was a Baptist. He was a Baptist. He was an atheist. He was an evangelical. Then he was a Calvinist. Then he became an atheist. And now he's a pastor at an evangelical church in Nebraska. I don't think he's a Calvinist anymore. You know why he stopped being a Calvinist? I don't know how much you know about Calvinism. I won't get into it. When his mom died, he said to me, I couldn't say for certain that my mom was in heaven. I didn't know if she was one of God's elect. And I couldn't stomach that. I'd been making that point with him about when people die the entire time we had been debating these topics, because I was into universalism. And this was about a year or so we would talk about these things and debate and discuss. The moment it happened to his mom, he realized something is wrong with Calvinism. That's what it took to make him real. Oh, wait, this doesn't make any sense. How could my mom? I can't know. Mm-mm. But if Calvinism is true, ain't nothing you can do about it. Ain't nothing I can do about it. If my parents are in hell right now, what am I going to do? I don't believe that for a second. And I don't think there's anything you could say to me that would convince me that it's true. And that's when I knew Calvinism was full of shit. But a lot of people are convinced that Calvinism is the most logical interpretation of the Bible, is the most clear teaching, the elect, predestination and the elect. What could be more clear than that? For whom he did foreknow, he did predestine to become the sons of God. You were chosen before the foundation of the world that God was going to save you. It's Calvinism. Must be true. Yeah, until his mom died and he thought, whoa, what if she, I don't know if she was one of God's elect. I don't know if she really believed. Woke him up. He became an atheist after searching. And then he got back into religion, and now he's a pastor. And I'm pretty sure he's an evangelical pastor, which would be a 4-point Calvinist, not a 5-point Calvinist. For those of you who don't know, Calvinism is based on 5 points of tulip. It's called tulip, and I forget what the 5 words are. There's a 4-point Calvinist. The L in tulip is limited atonement. Christ only died for the elect. The evangelical is a 4-point Calvinist. They agree with the Calvinists on 4 out of 5 points, unlimited atonement. So they're a tulip, not a tulip. They don't believe in limited atonement. They believe Christ died for all. And of course, the universalist says, then all would be saved. And that's what the Calvinist says. Then then everybody would be saved? The Calvinist agrees with us universalists. Now, I'm no longer claiming universalism is true because I see problems in the Bible with universalism. I finally had to face the fact that there are problems with universalism. There's problems with every religion. Did you know that there are this is going to be a long video. Oh, so what? Who cares? There's 3 interpretations of the rapture. Do you know about the rapture? There's the pre-tribulation, the mid-tribulation, and the post-tribulation. And all 3 are convinced that their interpretation is right and everyone else is wrong. And they quote the Bible to prove their point. All 3 of them do this. And I looked at all 3 and I went, what do you know? All 3 of you are wrong because you've all proven the other 2 are wrong. All 3 of you proved that the other 2 are wrong by quoting scripture to prove that they were wrong. They're all wrong. That's what I concluded. They're all wrong. But you're convinced that you're right. And that's when I realized I need to stop thinking that I'm right. And that's when I started realizing I don't know that universalism is true. It makes the most sense. The second most logical position to me is annihilationism. That those who are cast into the lake of fire are destroyed. Well, that's a lot better than hell. But again, I'm looking at a literal lake of fire where people are literally tossed into it. This literal interpretation of the Bible is wrong, in my opinion. It's spiritual, it's metaphorical, it's allegorical. It's all about our subconscious mind. It's not about this physical body, which is temporary. I wish this physical body was permanent. I do. I wish I could be 25 years old in a healthy body forever. Where do I go to live that life? I'll take that any day. If that's what happens after death, we're 25 for all eternity. Neville Goddard believed that after you die, you're around 20 years old and you're continuing to live and you don't even know you died. Maybe he's right. It sounds weird though. That's what Neville believed. He believed he met someone. He said, I just went to your funeral. I was just at your funeral. I'm like, he said that to somebody? I think Neville started losing his mind as he got old. He said God froze time for him once to show his power. Oh, wait, I thought you were God, Neville. But he said God froze time. He saw everything stop. Maybe that's true. Maybe it did happen. I'd love for that to happen. Are you kidding? You're all of a sudden everything freezes and you're just walking. And like, wow, nothing's moving. He said God did that for him to show his power. Neville said that. It's on YouTube. I don't know which video. I can't remember. There's a lot of Neville videos, but he believes some crazy things. He believed that David appeared before him in a dream or something and called him Father. And he believes that's going to happen to all of us. Everyone's going to experience. This is the thing that they're talking about in Hebrews. It's not that David appeared and I forget. Neville's interpretation of this is that David will appear to you and call you Father because you're God. And that's what Neville believed in his latter days. And I think that might be why he finally got might have said, it's time for you to go. You're starting to believe some silly things. I'm just guessing. I don't know. Isn't that weird, though? Neville really got into some weird thoughts, man. I can understand him rejecting the historical Jesus. Kind of. But the Bible does say that the spirit of Antichrist denies that Jesus came in the flesh. Someone interpreted that to not mean that he didn't have to be a historical figure. I forget how they interpreted that to justify that verse, that he did not come in the flesh. I don't know. I forget. Somebody who was agreed with Neville that it wasn't a contradiction. Shows you can do anything with the Bible. You can do anything with the Bible. You can make the Bible say anything you want. That's why there's all the Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses. They all use the Bible. I knew someone who was a Mormon, and she now is a Catholic, and she's convinced that the Catholic Church is the true church. And I went, nope, still wrong, but okay. I could be wrong, but I don't believe the Catholic Church is the true church. I don't believe that the first Christians were Catholic. I don't think there's any evidence to support that. I've listened to people who've tried to make that claim, and I'm not persuaded by the evidence. And just so you know, I've never been convinced of the truth or falsehood of evolution, or of young earth creationism or old earth creationism. I'm not convinced of any of it. I'm open to the possibility that any of them are right, but I've never been convinced by the evidence that I've listened to and read. I listened to William Lane Craig debate Lawrence Krauss and Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris. I've listened to all those debates, and none of them have convinced me either that they're right or wrong. I see a lot of evidence on both sides. It gave me a lot to think about. And I've listened to Kent Hovind debate evolutionists. He took on 3 evolutionists and beat them in a debate. And evolutionists all say that Kent Hovind's an idiot. I went, oh, so an idiot beat 3 of you guys, but he's an idiot. I don't like Kent Hovind. He's a nut. But he beat 3 evolutionists, took them all on. He's debated evolutionists all the time. And most of them lost in the debate to him. Not as much anymore. I also know a geneticist. I don't know a geneticist, but I watched a geneticist debate an evolutionist, and the geneticist said the universe is not any more than 25,000 years old. The evolution's a lie. He's a geneticist. Oh, he's an idiot. No, he's not. There are a lot of smart people who believe in young earth creationism. Some of them have PhDs. Did you know that? That doesn't mean young earth creationism is true. I'm not claiming it's true. I don't know if it's true. I don't think it is. If I had to guess, if you put a gun to my head, let's play a hypothetical. Which one do you think's true? Oh, if I have to guess, I'll guess evolution. That would be my guess. Because science is the accepted view right now of science. That might not be the accepted view in the future. And there are lots of scientists who reject it right now. Scientists. Now, they say those aren't real scientists. Those are pseudoscientists. They have PhDs. There was a geneticist. It's on YouTube. He debated an evolutionist. The evolution, I didn't want to come on this because it's just silly. I don't even know why I bothered. I shouldn't have agreed to this. It's so silly. He couldn't beat the geneticist at a debate. He said, you don't have anything. Abiogenesis is nothing. That's all you have, and it doesn't work. You have nothing. You can't show me any proof for evolution. And he's a geneticist who's he goes, that kind of blew my mind. I'm like, okay. Again, I didn't necessarily, I've at times thought evolution is wrong. At times I've thought, no, it's probably right. I'm silly to question it. So I'm like, no, I'm not silly to question it. I'm silly not to question it. Science questions. This is the part that I don't understand about these people. Scientists are telling me I shouldn't question it. I should accept it as fact. Why? Because that's what science teaches, therefore it must be true. Gee, that sounds like a Pharisee in Jesus' day. That sounds like evangelicals today. That sounds like young earth creationists would tell their people, you should believe what the Bible says. It says it in the Bible. It's true. We know it's true because the Bible's the Word of God. Well, all the evolutionists agree that's stupid to follow that logic. You're literally doing the same thing. You should believe it because science shows that it's true. It's a fact of science. So I should just believe that. Believe? I thought you guys aren't into believing. I thought you were into testing, and the whole point of science is to question. Someone told me once that a real scientist tries to prove that he's wrong. That real science is trying to prove you're wrong about whatever you think is true. You should try to prove it wrong. And if you can't prove it wrong, then you hold to it unless you can prove it wrong. And if you can prove it wrong, then you reject it. I said that's real science. So I don't reject any of it, nor do I claim any of it is true. I say it might be true. It could be true. I don't know. I remain open to the possibility that evolution is true. Put a gun to my head, I'll guess it's true. But I'm not going to lose my mind if somebody one day proves that evolution is a lie. Oh no, they can't. Yeah, it can. It could be wrong. It could be wrong. Who cares? What does it matter? Why does it need to be true? At no point am I saying it's not true. People think I'm saying, right now, people are thinking that I just said that evolution isn't true. I never said that. You don't think it's true. It might be true. I don't know. You don't think it's true. I didn't say I don't think it's true. But even if I said I don't think it's true, I still wouldn't be claiming it. But I didn't say that. I said if I had to guess, I would guess it's true. But let's say if I had to guess, I would guess, no, I would guess it's not true. So what? I'm not making any claim there. Nor am I stupid for saying that. If anything, stupid is I'm right and nothing you say will change my mind. That's stupid. That's stupid. Unless you know for a fact, like 2 + 2 = 4. Do you know evolution is true in the same way you know 2 + 2 = 4? A lot of people would say yes. I'd say, okay, can you show me that? If you can demonstrate to me the proof of evolution in the same way that 2 + 2 = 4, oh, then I'm convinced. Then there's no doubt in my mind. That's the end of that. How long? Ooh, 2 hours. This is a long video. I don't think I'm going to post this. We'll see. I'll listen to it. Hope you enjoyed my crazy talk, and hopefully I'll be back on Monday to tell you something. I don't know. Well, I'll talk about what I was going to talk about on Monday, unless I'm not going to talk about it. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see. I probably will not make another video until Monday, probably, and I will probably make a video Monday, probably. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.